Well, hi everybody. This is Angelo Quinones, and you reach I Am Ministries. I Am Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. And let me see if I can make this a little bit more brighter for you guys. Okay. While I speak, and it's all the way it's all the way to the end. So this is the full Greek construction series. And each lesson has to do with a verse that comes into play while speaking to so-called Jehovah's Witnesses, because we all know that they're not really witnessing for Yahweh. Okay, Jehovah, whatever you want to pronounce the Tetragrammaton, however you want to pronounce the Tetragrammaton, which actually means four letters. Tetra, okay, is Greek, and it has to do with four, and grammaton has to do with letters or writings. Okay. So, and thank you for your views. The first Tetragrammaton study that I ever put on YouTube, and basically the only one yet, I have several other ones that are even better than that one. That one has 17,000 views. That's a lot of views for somebody who's not really well known like Charles Stanley. Okay. Now, my name is Angelo Quinones, also known as Angelo Kyky Quinones. That's a nickname that my mother gave me when I was a very, very young child, like 5 or 3, I don't know. And so I was born in New York City. Before I get into this full Greek construction Logos series, which is also known as the, the Progression of Thought series. And before I get into, some info or what I do and who am I just want to let you know a little bit about the ministry. The ministry has to do, I am, comes from Jesus. He is, he is this, he is that. Okay, he's the bread of life, the light of the well, the door, the good shepherd, the true vine, the way, the truth, and the life, and the resurrection and the life. Okay, so it has to do with what he said. It's really called Ego Ho'on Ministries, but I thought that was a little bit too much. So I just called it, I Am Ministries. I was born in 1965. I'm 55 years old right now. I'm living in the Philippines. I am not a Filipino. I'm a Native American, meaning, I was born in the United States in 1965 to a Spanish couple, okay, Nilda and Jose. Okay, my mother's maiden name is Cruci, and that's where I get the name for some of my channels. Okay, Angelo Kyky Rucci Quinones and Angelo Rucci Quinones, RUCCI, and like that. And my mother passed away in 2012. She died in her sleep, and she went to be with the Lord. Okay, she is a born again Christian. And my father passed away in a fire in 1983. And when I was 17 years old, and that's the first time I ever went to work, as a matter of fact, I went to work in my old school, Lavelle School for the Blind, because I am legally blind. Okay, I see everything in a small miniature way. That's the problem with my eyesight, I have optic atrophy. Okay. So I was born in 1965. I relocated from the United States of America, New York City, Far Rockaway Beach, Queens. I was born in the Bronx. And I was born again in New York City in 1990, around 1990. And then the first church I ever attended was Calvary Baptist Church at West 57th Street. I got baptized in John 3:16 Church via another church, okay, Principle of Peace, okay, in Far Rockaway, Queens. And then I started to preach and teach and translate also from Spanish, to English in the church that I attended called Temple of the Living God, Templo de Dios Vivo. It's a Spanish church, traditional Pentecostal church. Not oneness, by the way, but just traditional Pentecostal, because they believe in the spiritual gifts for today, and I do too. And I say not oneness because the thing is, I'm not a oneness Pentecostal. I debated one. They don't believe in the deity of Christ and the Trinity. They really don't. Okay. And so I was born in 1965. I was born again in 1990. I got baptized in 1995. I went to Nyack Theological Seminary, a college. Okay, a very wonderful, down-to-earth evangelical college. Okay, Some of my professors were Adelaide Pabon, Lindell O'Hara, Professor Donworth, Professor Fernandez, etc., etc., etc. I can't remember all my professors, you know. That was like about 20 years ago. And so I went to college late in my life, you know. And after that, I went to work. My mother passed away in 2012. I made my ministry, and it's nothing worse than a mother dying. I mean, it's nothing worse than that. Probably a child dying, God forbid, you know. I made my ministry called I Am Ministries in 2013. I began my Greek studies well before I invented or made the ministry. Because of Walter Martin's interest in the Greek, and it got me interested in Greek, and I bought my first interlinear Bible, you know the deal, and all of that stuff, and basically I became interested in Hebrew, so I learned how to read and write Hebrew. But you really have to restudy these things because you tend to forget. I remember that Dan Wallace said that he forgot all of his Greek, which is amazing. I don't know why. Did he get sick or something like that? And so I'm basically in the school of William D. Mouse and Dan Wallace and Julius R. Manti. Okay, and I make my own. I have my own style of preaching and teaching, which really is affected by listening to Martin Lloyd-Jones in a large scale. I think he was the greatest preacher of all time. I mean, I never heard Spurgeon. I mean, Martin Lloyd-Jones is up there with anybody, you know. And so the greatest teacher of all time was Dr. Barnhouse, in my opinion, at least in the 20th century, anyway. So a lot of people could give other people that stake and claim. So I'm an evangelical / Pentecostal because I just believe in the spiritual gifts for today. I believe in using more than one version of the Bible. I'm not a King James only guy. I never was a Jehovah's Witness. So I hope that answers all of your questions. Please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, a comment, and please subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell button. So if I upload a new video, you guys could know when I did that, and you could get some notification. All right, basically that's it about me. I just want to tell you one more thing about myself, and I'll get into the pronunciations between the modern Greek and modern Greek and biblical Greek. I'll get into those pronunciations. I'll get into the Hebrew of the text. I want you to really know your New Testament Hebrew Bible. Because the thing is that it has things that can help you defeat or reach Jehovah's Witnesses. I do the two. Jesus reached people, like in John chapter 4, but he also defeated people when he needed to do so. Matthew chapter 21 and 22. So the Hebrew New Testament can actually, supply ammunition for you guys that can defeat or reach Jehovah's Witnesses. Like Jesus saying, Echek, according to it. Nobody can say that except for Yahweh. Jehovah's Witnesses, so-called, knew that. When they wrote page 36 in their little booklet entitled "The Word Who Is He," the Word Who Is He, around 1961 or 62. So it can help you tremendously because he used the divine title Ekyek. Nobody can say that except for God. Is equal to the Tetragrammaton. Jehovah's Witnesses knew that. That's why they wanted to fight for Jesus not to be speaking anything else except for Hebrew. Okay, so I'll let you know a little bit about that when I can find a copy, because I have the copy, but I have it in New York City. If it survived the flood in my brother's house, I don't know if it did, but I can actually probably get it in Amazon.com. So you can get that in Amazon.com, the 1817 edition of the Hebrew New Testament, translated from the Textus Receptus, which is a nice text, by G.G. Collier, Colllyernt Frey, Frey. And so I relocated from New York City to the Philippines and to Don Pedro, Colombian. I'm in section 2. I'm building my house in section 1. Praise the Lord. That's where I'm going to have my headquarters. Lord willing, we shall do this and that. And I moved here because, I fell in love with this wonderful woman named Riza Tapai. Now Quinones, we're married. Okay, and I have a daughter named Anna Devane, of all names. Okay, from the famous General Hospital character, secret agent character, Anna Devane. Robert Scorpio, Anna Devane, Sean Donnelly. From the Aztec Treasure Caper, 1985 General Hospital saga. Okay, Aztec Treasure, 1985 from General Hospital. Okay, so we have an 11-year-old daughter, and that's me in a nutshell. Okay, I'm very traditional. I believe in all of the essentials of the historic Christian faith. I'm not a legalist. I'm born again, and I am what I am by the grace of God. So I believe in the inspiration of the scriptures. I believe in the birth of Christ, the virgin birth of Christ. I believe, just to finish, I believe in the miracles of Jesus. I add that in there because, Thomas Jefferson didn't. I do. I believe in Christ's substitutionary atonement death on a cross, the shedding of his blood for the remission of sins, bodily death on a cross, and his bodily resurrection from the dead. That his actual, tangible, literal body was raised from the dead, okay, in the second coming. So, and the Trinity. So, if you want to see the Great Trinity debate, see that on my channel called Angelo Rucci, that's Rucci, Quinones. All you have to do is type of Angelo Rucci, and you're going to see over 100 Greek construction studies. It's part of a micro study, small study series, and I'm going to be putting, Lord willing, a mega series, like studies that are well over an hour of Jehovah's Witnesses passages that they like to use against us. Okay, so that's basically me in a nutshell. I'm a nice guy, but I speak with tremendous power, okay, and boldness, okay, and I use a lot of funny little things to illustrate my point, and that's how I roll. I should have said roll. Okay. All right, guys, that's enough of me. And so let's get into the biblical or standard or traditional pronunciation, and it goes something like this. Okay. En arche ein halagos, kai halagos in prastantheon. As in logos. Now I know that there's another pronunciation. I'm going to get into that. Okay, remember that you read Greek from left to right, never from right to left. Okay, unless you're parsing a word. If you're parsing a word, just an individual word, you can go backwards and parse it that way. You can check out the case ending in the noun structure, or like the personal endings in a verb, and getting into the connecting vowel, and then getting into the tense stem, and then if there's an augment, and you could do that the other way, but if it helps you going that way, okay, just do that, but not while reading it. You're gonna read backwards, but it's just like Hebrew. You read Hebrew from right to left, but then you can read from left to right, as words go, so you can break up the syllable. Okay, that can help you like that, and then you could go ahead and read from right to left, all the way through, as you figure out the syllables, and that's just the deal. Well, I better get going. Okay. Okay. Well, let me give you the biblical pronunciation, and it goes something like this. Okay. En arche ein halagos, kai halagos ein prastantheon, kai theos ein halagos. Okay. En arche ein halagos, kai halagos ein prastantheon, kai theos ein halagos. Okay? One more time. En arche ein halagos, kai halagos ein prastantheon, kai theos ein halagos. Okay? Now that's the biblical, I call it the biblical pronunciation, which is also called the American pronunciation, or the standard pronunciation, or the traditional pronunciation, or the classical pronunciation. It's called several things. Okay, I'm just going to stay with biblical for now, so I don't have to keep on giving you the entire list. Now, the modern pronunciation goes something like this, okay? Εναρχή ειν ο λόγος, και ο λόγος ειν προς τον Θεόν, και Θεός ειν ο λόγος. Okay? Εναρχή ειν ο λόγος, και ο λόγος ειν προς τον Θεόν, και Θεός ειν ο λόγος. Εν αρχή ειν ο λόγος, και ο λόγος ειν προς τον Θεόν, και Θεός ειν ο λόγος. Okay? And so that's just the deal. Now we'll get into those pronunciations, and I really want to get into, and I hope this is still recording. Sometimes it's it's still recording though. So I want to get into the Hebrew. Before I do, let me just give you this, okay? Actually, I want to get into some best case scenarios for so-called Jehovah's Witnesses if it was in the text. They're not in the text. They would be best case scenario for the witnesses if they were there, but they're not there, and you can tell that, you can give that information to the witnesses. Does it say enarche epoes and hateas tan uranan? Well, that's the Genesis. Does it say enarche epoes and hateas tan lagan? That's what I tried to say. In the beginning, God created the Logos. Does it say that? It doesn't. Okay, almost mimicking word for word. Okay, all right. Enarche epoesen, hateas tan uranan kaitain gain. That's Genesis right there. Okay, almost mimicking word for word. Okay, that construction is not there. This is not there as well. Before we get into the Hebrew, it doesn't say something like this. Okay, enarche ein ha huias. In the beginning was the Son. Okay, now some evangelical Christians believe that he was the Son before he came to earth. I don't. Walter Martin didn't also. A lot of Christians don't believe that. There's not enough biblical support. Okay, all right, you just can't say, well, where does it say that he was the Son? Okay, where does it say that he was the eternal Son? I don't see that. I don't see that anywhere. Okay, I see that he was the Word. That's what I see. I see that in the text. I don't see enarche in hahuias. In the beginning was the Son. The Greek word huias means son. It's in a nominative case construction. Nominative singular masculine. It's a nominative singular masculine what? It's not there. Okay, in this text. He wasn't the Son at the time. And actually, Hebrews 1:5 and 6 and 5:5 and 7:3 point that fact out. Apater, ameter. No father, no mother. Okay? It's using the allegory of Melchizedek to actually prove that Jesus, okay, at the I hate to say at the time, okay, in eternity's past, did not have a father, so that wipes out, God the Father being the Father at the time, and he didn't have a mother. Okay, he became the Son of God at Bethlehem. It doesn't even say this for the Jehovah's Witnesses. Quote, Enarche ein ha angelos. In the beginning was the angel. Doesn't even say this. Quote, Enarche ein ha Michael. In the beginning was Michael. It doesn't even say that. There's another scenario that I keep on forgetting that is not there. In the beginning was the Son. In the beginning was Michael. In the beginning was the angel. In the beginning, God created the Logos. I know there's another one that I created, no pun intended, but it keeps on escaping me. But you can use those four anyway. And as time goes on, I'll remember the fifth scenario that I made for the witnesses. Okay? Now, it doesn't even say in Hebrew. We're going to see that it doesn't say that. It doesn't say even this in Hebrew. Okay? Bereshit bara Elohim ha dabar. Doesn't even say that. In the beginning, God created the what? Doesn't say that at all. It does not say that at all. So that's the same scenario that I, made for the witnesses according to the Greek. Enarche epoesen. Okay, and I believe that's the second aorist construction there in the Septuagint. I'm going to look at it because the ending se actually sen epoes that's the ending for the second aorist. Okay, that's how you could know that you're in the second aorist. Okay, and then of course you got the aorist 10 stem, and then you got the augment, the epsilon. So the Greeks actually put their ed at the beginning and at the end of a what? Not the ed, but it has that connotation that what we do. We use a completed action sometimes in verbs, ed, sort of construction. Okay, jumped, kicked, flipped, and all that other good stuff. The Greeks do it, in the beginning and in the end. You can tell something is a completed action, and that's generally the case of the aorist, is a completed action in past time. So they put an e or an epsilon, okay, in the beginning of what, to actually sort of prove the point. But we'll look at the Greek Septuagint, and we'll look at other translations of the Bible, the Septuagint and the Hebrew translation of the Greek New Testament. Okay, we'll look at that in a second. But I just wanted to say those best case scenarios, and let me pop out the Greek Septuagint. Okay. Okay, so let's leave. Okay, energie in halagos, kai halagos in prostanteon, kai theos in halagos. Okay, let me see if I'm still recording here, because I don't want to just talk, and it's gone. Okay, I hate that. I hate when that happens, guys. Okay, so let's poke the bear here. Okay, let's see. And that's just it. And I have a stepson. I have a couple of stepsons, and I hate when they put games in this phone. I just really, Now, where's the Greek Septuagint over here? The copy of it, anyway. The word Septuagint comes from the Latin word Septuaginta, which means 70, and you know the deal. Ptolemy Philadelphus, king of Alexandria, Egypt. Actually, okay, that's Genesis right there. Genesis 1:1. Genesis 1:1. Incidentally, in verse 2, it says Aharatas. That means invisible. Okay, nowhere in the Bible does it say that Jesus is coming invisibly. Okay, parousia aratas. Okay, it doesn't say that at all. Okay, or the other way around. Okay, aratas parousia. It doesn't have that. First of all, it doesn't even have that series of those words back to back like that in the New Testament or in the Greek Septuagint. Okay, so of the thousands of verses in the both Greek testaments, it doesn't even have that construction, those constructions. Back to back like that. Okay, those words. Invisible coming or presence or coming invisibly. Okay, it doesn't have that for Jesus or anyone anywhere in the Bible, in the Greek Bible. Okay, nowhere does it record that Jesus is coming invisibly. So I don't know why the sign of the Son of Man was created, no pun intended, because the thing is he's not coming invisibly. The Greek word aratos doesn't even appear, okay, in Matthew, in the Gospel Kata Mattheon, chapter 24. Doesn't even appear, okay. I don't think it appears at all in Matthew. Okay, I know that it appears in invisible appears in Romans. Okay, it appears I think in 1 Timothy, and maybe just a couple of other times. Okay, in the Greek New Testament, maybe 4 times or something like that. Is there? Okay, I think in chapter 11 of Hebrews. So I don't see that it appears for Jesus coming invisibly at all, guys. I mean, it's just not there, and that's why I want you guys to learn the original languages, okay, of the Bible, okay, and even going beyond that, the Greek of the Old Testament as well as the Hebrew of the New. It is very, very important that you defeat Jehovah's Witnesses, because if we get defeated, we look bad to people who are like independent voters, if you will. Okay, I hate to say that because actually I'm a Calvinist and I believe that God elects us. It's not the other way around. But I'm saying the people that are on the fence. Okay, all right. I mean, to whom much is given, much is required. And I mean, if we lose one soul, it might be our fault. Okay. So I mean, if you warn them, says God through Ezekiel, if you warn them, you're okay. If you don't, you're stuck. Okay, so I'm just saying, your soul shall be required of thee. Okay, we have to give an account at the bema of Christ, So, and one of the things that we have to give account of is how we witness to these witnesses. Okay, I know it's hard to do that. There are different strokes for different folks. There are different kinds of Jehovah's Witnesses. It's Tony, the walking dictionary, Tony from Florida. And then you have the emotional philosopher, Mark from Missouri. Both wonderful people, but different Jehovah's Witnesses. One doesn't know a word of Greek, Mark from Missouri, and one thinks he's a Greek scholar, Tony from Florida, okay? You understand what I'm saying? Who couldn't even give me the paradigm of Theos if his life depended on it, okay? You understand? All right. I mean, Alexander Cruz didn't even know how to spell the word arche, and he's trying to call Jesus the beginning. On what basis? Okay. Well, if you call him the beginning, so what? Alpha and Omega is called the beginning anyway in Revelation chapter 21, I believe it is 21, right? 21 or 22. So what? So he's the beginning. So what? The word arche has a semantic range. Okay. Julius Armenti said when it has to do with time, a stream, like that, a body of water, whatever the case may be, I mean, things are called beginnings. But when it has to do with people, well, they're called principalities. I mean, they're called rulers. And by the way, isn't it Deuteronomy chapter around, we're going to look at it though. I think it's like Deuteronomy chapter 33 or 32. That verse 27 around there, that has to do with God being called arche, a ruler, that he rules. So that's why it's important to know the Greek. Okay, it's very, very important to know the Greek of the both testaments and the Hebrew of the both testaments, the Old Testament and the New. Okay. All right. Now, so this is the Greek Septuagint. Okay, and I just wanted to add the word aratas there, that the earth was invisible underneath the elements, okay, of water, and so I wanted to carry that over with the invisible, so-called the invisible coming of Christ. Okay, so I guess that Paul came invisibly around verse 12 of chapter 2 of Philippians. He was going to make an invisible coming, a presence. A presence is really a prolonged stay, if you will, right? When somebody comes, when I come to a store, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to make a presence there. I'm going to, pitch my tent at the store. You understand what I'm saying? I just go in and out. I mean, me and my wife went to 7-Eleven yesterday. It doesn't mean I stayed there for a long time. You know what I mean? So, like the Apostle Paul, you could say made a parousia. Okay, all right, in Arabia, he stayed for 3 years. But a parousia, it doesn't say that, but you could say that he made a presence there. He just didn't come. So there's a couple of ways to translate that Greek word parousia. I disagree with a Jehovah's so-called ex-Jehovah's Witness who was a Jehovah's Witness before, and then he's diamond weed and complaining about Russell translating the Greek word parousia into presence. It does mean presence, whether we like it or not. Okay, I know that Russell didn't know anything of Greek. He didn't even know the Greek alphabet, and that was proved in court around 1912. I understand that, but it does mean presence are coming, and we have to deal with these things. Okay, we do have to deal with issues. The scenario that I built up, the case that I built up for Jehovah's Witnesses is here. NRK epoesin, okay, alright, habeas tan uranan kai tain gain. En means in here, arche means beginning here. Epoesin, which is the remember you read Greek from left to right, is the third word in the text, okay, after one. You see that the first line there, below Genesis. Epoesin is in the aorist tense. That's generally speaking, that's a completed action in past time. Okay, as simple as I could put it. It's an action that was completed in past time. Okay, this. It's not that it was completed. It's just going to be completed in the future or something like that. Whatever the case may be, this happened, you know, several thousand years ago, even in Moses' time. Okay. In the beginning, God created. Okay. Bereshit bara Elohim. In the beginning, God created what? Well, He created the heaven. It says here. It doesn't even say the heavens. It's a bad translation from the Greek Septuagint translators. And by the way, I didn't finish the story about the Greek Septuagint. The Greek Septuagint comes from, the word Septuagint comes from the Latin word Septuaginta, which means 70. Because Ptolemy Philadelphus, king of Alexandria, Egypt, this is how the legend goes, okay, around 300 BC, commissioned the project of the Septuagint. He wanted a Greek translation of the Jewish Bible, the Jewish scriptures, okay? Now, 6 scholars from each tribe were summoned to make the project. So you multiply 12 tribes, you know, Dan, Naphtali, Judah, Benjamin, you know, all that. 12 times 6 is 72. 12 times 6 is 72. So you have 72 Jewish scholars. There you go. So it probably was completed around, meaning the Greek Septuagint, around 132 BC, according to Oxford's concise dictionary of the Christian Church, which has over 5,000 pieces of information. You should get that volume from Amazon.com. Incidentally, I didn't point this out. If you want to learn modern Greek, how to speak to Greeks, the way they speak it, okay, please get a series called Living Language. Oh, that's my wife right here. Say hi, hon, my love. Hey, say hi.
Let's go.
Let's go where? Okay. We're going to Cebu now? Oh, to get the haircut? Okay, honey. Okay. All right, so that's enough. Give me like 3 minutes, honey, just to finish up here. Okay. So anyway, I have to go out because my wife is the boss. Okay, you understand? So, like I said before, this scenario for the Jehovah's Witnesses is not in the text. I'm going to mention it one more time. That's part of the structure, or any of the structure doesn't. Thank you for the medicine, sweetheart, because my foot is bad. My ankle, I twisted my ankle the other day. That doesn't appear in John 1:1 anywhere. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to get into part 2 of this mega series, and so I'll let you guys go, and I'll read the text again before I go, okay, in the 2 pronunciations, okay? Enerche in halagos, kai halagos in prostantean, kai theos in halagos. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And to close, I'll give you the modern pronunciation, the way the Greeks speak nowadays. And like I was saying before my wife came, you could get Living Language. It's a set of 9 CDs, and it comes with a few books, intermediate, you know, all that way of really speaking to Greeks. I mean, you can learn a lot and how to speak to a Greek. You know, Living Language is a large box set that you could get on Amazon.com. Living Language Greek, Living Language Hebrew is a very good set. So here we go. This is the last pronunciation. Enerchi in ologos, que ologos in prostonteon, que theos in ologos. This is Angelo Quinones giving the glory to God the Father, to the Lord Jesus Christ, and in the Holy Spirit. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. Thank you. Now, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. How dare you guys. And please subscribe to my channel. And please leave a comment on the channel. Thank you guys. Bye-bye. Bye.